Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, section 2 of your paper number 1 comprises of 30 marks, and in the last lesson we talked about it, and you all know what section number 2 is. Section number 2 is the creative writing, and you know that the total marks of this creative writing are 30. And the total marks of the first section are also 30, but those 30 marks comprise of 15 for the task completion and 15 for the language. But these 30 marks in section number 2, they all belong to language. So the language, the English language should be highly accurate here, and you have to be very careful and very vigilant and very much aware of all the requirements of the CIE examiner. So I just wanted to share the highlight of the marking scheme with you. There are different bands. As you all know, there are 8 bands in the marking scheme. So the top band is the 8th band, where you get the highest marks. The total marks are obviously 30, and band 8 is from 27 to 30. If you are falling in this band, you are definitely getting an A star in the exams. So in order to get A star in the exams, these are the expectations of the examiner, and these are the areas that we are going to look into closely today. Yesterday or in the previous lesson I gave you the narrative. You must have written the narrative. I will be assessing your narrative, and obviously the assessment of your narrative is based on this marking scheme, on these criteria. If you have met this criteria, these criteria that are going to come highly accurate, then you are, if you are highly accurate in fulfilling these requirements of the CIE examiner, you are going to fall in band number 8, 27 to 30 marks. And if you are only accurate in writing, if you are not so much accurate in writing, if you are occasionally accurate in these areas, if you are seldomly accurate in these areas, then your band keeps on falling. So high accurate writing, it means that you have met this criteria in a very much satisfactory way, in a high level of accuracy. Then obviously all these marks, as I told you, they all belong to language. Then you are going to fall in the top band of this section, and you are likely to get 27 to 30 marks. So these are the expectations. First of all, highly accurate writing apart from very occasional slips. Very occasional slips are not penalized, I told you. First of all, sentence structure. Your sentence structure should be highly accurate. If your sentence structure is highly accurate and varied for particular effects, you are there for the top band. If it is only accurate, if your sentence structure is only accurate, varied for particular effects, then you are not going to fall in band number 8. You will go to band number 7, right? If your sentence structure is highly accurate, only then you are going to fall in this. So first of all, the first thing that you must keep in mind, that your sentence structure is varied for particular effects. Secondly, verb forms largely correct and appropriate tenses consistently used. I stressed in my previous lesson as well that using the tenses consistently, especially when you're writing a narrative, is very important, and you can see it is a part of the marking scheme. If you are hovering between the sentences, somewhere you're writing the past and then you are coming to the present, or you're not consistent with your tenses, you will not be there. If you are highly accurate and consistent in your tenses, you are there for the top band in the marking scheme. Vocabulary wide and precise. What is a good vocabulary? I always say that good vocabulary is the right word at the right place. You don't need to use jargons or too many complex words in your narrative. Just make sure that whatever the vocabulary, whatever the word you use, that fit in that situation. ज़बरदस्ती डिफ़िकल्ट वर्ड्स ऐड करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है आपको. in fact that will be penalized if you are not using the right word at the right place, or if you are using over complex vocabulary, they it is not appreciated. Punctuation, highly accurate and helpful. Punctuation is again very important. Spellings are accurate apart from the occasional slips. I told you occasional slips are not penalized, but don't rely on this. Don't rely on this that occasional slips are not penalized. Occasional slips हो ही जाएंगे वैसे ही आपसे. Don't worry about it. So make sure that your spellings are highly accurate. Paragraphs have unity and linked and show evidence of planning. Yesterday we learnt about narrative, and planning is very important. We talked about it. Appropriateness and content. Obviously content is also a part of the language. Consistently relevant. If you're writing a narrative, or if you're writing an argumentative or descriptive, it should be consistently relevant. All the content should be relevant. There should not be any irrelevant material in that. Tone and register are entirely appropriate. Descriptions have well developed images, helping to create complex atmosphere. Descriptions, this is mostly related to the descriptive essays. If you are doing narrative, obviously I told you that narratives have some part of description as well, but this is specifically, more specifically for the descriptive essays. Then next one is argumentative. Argumentatives are developed logically when complex, so this is related to the argumentative. But talking about narrative alone, this one is very important. This I always say, narratives are complex. They should not be simple if you want to fall in the top band. Narratives are complex, sophisticated, possibly tense, and may contain devices such as flashbacks. So we have talked about the flashbacks. I've told you how to use the flashbacks, and they should be sophisticated, possibly tense, cliffhangers. All these narrative tools should be included in that narrative. Yesterday I gave you two narratives and I asked you to do either of that. That one you must have done yesterday, and the other one you are going to do today. And you also show me the yesterday's work, and if you had done numbers 5 yesterday, if you did number 5 yesterday, today you will do number 6, and if you did number 6 yesterday, you will do number 5. I will send you the same document again in which that narrative was given, and then you start doing your work. If you have any question, you can ask. That's it for now.